So today we're going to talk about just how to do a simple scan in a picture on the, you can do it on one of the four machines. You can do it on the Destiny, Babylock Destiny, or the Solaris, or the Brother Dream Machine, or the Luminaire. And so I'm going to be working on a Luminaire this afternoon, but you could do the same thing on any of those four models. So today we're going to take a simple coloring book, those color books that they have in almost everywhere. You can get these anywhere. Turn into really beautiful embroideries, because you could also use clip art that you download from the internet. Just make sure that you can either print it or you can use it directly with either a USB or wireless into your machine, depending on what machine you have. If you're using a coloring book, I don't like to use the coloring books that use the newsprint, that sort of beige color fabric, because sometimes that comes through, is kind of busy on the scanner. Your machine, like this, won't work on the lower ends because you have to have a machine that will scan, has the camera in the machine itself. So I've got these books. I know, it's hard to read, it's backwards. These I got there, and they're really cheap. You can get them, they're made by Dover Publications. In fact, if you go to doverpublications.com, you can sign up and you can download some free design, free in all kinds of categories. They have all kinds of stuff here. So, and this one's just black and white. So you have different pictures. And I picked one, let me see. I think I picked the tulip. Let me see if I can find it. That one. I forgot which one yeah, here's the one I scanned. I was just going to do something simple today. So I scanned this in. I did it on a separate piece of paper. I just went to the copier and copied it, because it's kind of hard to press this into your scanner. I just put on regular copy, and then you just need your scanner board and your magnets. And we're going to put this in the machine. If you are tracing something and you want to, it's from something that can't go into a copy machine, I would use a piece of paper or piece of vellum or a document protector or something vinyl and trace it. Use the really thin, fine Sharpie marker so that you can get a nice, clear image. Using ballpoint pen doesn't work too well. See, here's the design. You want it to be that clear, because as they say, garbage in, garbage out. And you don't want to have to do a whole lot of cleaning up to these designs, because you want as little fuss and muss as possible. So use the fine tip Sharpie markers in order to trace it, and you'll just get a better design. A lot of times some of the clip arts are way too busy, and the problem with that is when they're way too busy, there's too many lines, too much stuff to embroider, and so you want to sort of style it down. So you may eliminate some of these lines so that it's not over stitching, and it just gets simpler is better usually. Your stitch outs are better the simpler they are. You get into too much detail and they just go a little crazy. The machines don't like to stitch them out too well. So we're going to scan it in. The other thing too, I like to use black and white. Yes, you can use color, but the big problem when you're scanning something in with color is that you may see green, okay? The scanner's going to see light green, medium green, dark green, and it's going to put in 3 different colors. And I just want green, okay? So scanning something in color doesn't always work. It's going to work best if you can start with a black and white design. Works a lot better. You can put in whatever color you want in the fills later. So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to go to My Design Center. If you have a Babylock, it's called IQ Designer. So I'll hit that. Oh, and so you'll need some kind of stylus. And yes, it looks kind of wavy. Now this is the Luminaire and the Solaris. The screens look the same. So what we want to do is scan. Let's talk about what this screen looks like. This is showing you how big, 100% You can zoom in and zoom out. This is called panning. That panning is not on in the Destiny and the Dream Machine. I'm not a big fan of panning, and you'll see why in a little bit. This is the one thing about the new machine I'm not as crazy about, because sometimes that panning gets in the way. Then you have your board here, or up here, and it'll be a different thing in the Destiny and the Dream Machine. The thing with the leaf here, and I think it's on the Destiny Dream Machine, it will say, once you press it, come on, fingers are cold. It now tells you image scan, line design, and illustration design. I mostly use what this is. Image scan means it just scans the picture and stays on your screen as a background. It does not apply any stitches to it. If you're using a black and white and you want it to do the outline, put those stitches in for you, you're going to hit line design, and then it'll every line, that's good for black and white, everywhere it sees a black line, it's going to default to putting it in as a satin stitch, a black satin stitch, and you can change it later. The last one here where it says illustration design, that means you've got a color picture, and I almost never use that because I have more problems when I've got a color picture, because it interprets too many colors and it's a pain in the neck. So I usually do line design, start with a black and white and go to line design. Okay. On the Destiny and the Dream Machine, when you first go into IQ Designer or My Design Center, you're going to see these three up here, up at the top, where it'll say line, image scan, line design, all that. So you will pick those. You're going to pick that second one, which is line design. Okay, and so I'm going to hit line design. And then you come to this screen. Now this, if you have one already scanned in and you want to come back and work on it, then you want to go ahead and, that's internal memory of your machine. This is if you brought your design in from your computer, a clip art or a picture or whatever. Speaking of pictures, a lot of people will bring in a picture and want to digitize it. If you're bringing in a picture from an iPhone or from your telephone, and yes, it'll save to a JPEG image, I have had problems when I'm bringing in a design in from my iPhone. Yes, it's a JPEG, but it is a different version of a JPEG than a computer puts out, and it won't read it. So what I do is I take that over to my computer, put it in my Photoshop, and I just simply open it, save it again as a different name. Works great. Don't know why, just does. Okay, this one is using an SD card, and this is on the Solaris and the Luminaire if you have Wi-Fi connected. But I'm going to, or just scan it. I want to just scan it. So I'm going to hit scan, and then you're going to put, let's just move this over here. You can see the scanner. So I've used, it has these green magnet things. You want to keep these out of the way. This one I sort of copied it, and I copied it too far to the left, but you know, it's okay. I didn't change my foot. I'm not going to stitch it now. If I were going to embroider it, I'd switch to the embroidery foot, but I don't care right now. So we're just going to digitize it. We're not going to have time to stitch it out. This is a big design. So I hit OK, and it scans. And it scans. Come on. You never want to put your picture, see at the very top of that scanning board, there's a black and white bar. Don't put your paper or the magnets on there. That white bar is what it uses to calibrate the camera. So don't cover that. So we're waiting and we're waiting. It scans pretty quick. If anyone has the old Elissimo where it would scan, it would take forever. This is a lot faster. And obviously, the camera's around this area, not under the needle. There we go. Okay. Now we go back to the screen, and this is what it shows you. Okay. Here you have an opportunity to make it darker or lighter. That's that gray detection level. On the Brother and the on the Luminaire and the Solaris, I think you can pick your stitch right away. Okay, it defaults to a satin stitch and the color black. Well, I may not want that color. I could, on these machines, I can change that now, but I'm not going to. And I can tell it what kind of stitch to use, which is, here it's telling me a satin stitch, a double run, a triple run, candle wicking, and these are fancy other stitches, or a no-sew line. If you don't want it to do an outline at all, you're going to pick no-sew line. Otherwise, it's going to put an outline around everything. But I'm going to leave it like that at the default, and I'm just going to hit OK. Okay. If you have any questions, I can see the questions as you come up because I'm behind the phone. So let me know if you have any questions. Okay, then over here, you're going to want to take your stylus or your finger, and you're going to bring this up so that it just surrounds the picture. In other words, I don't want to digitize those green magic mark, or those green magnets. So then I hit OK, so I'm good with that. Okay, and I see we've got some cleaning up to do. That, like, I'm not liking something here. Okay, so we're gonna clean it up. Now again, you've got another shot at the detection level, the grayscale. So I'm gonna hit set. Okay, and now we're ready to do things. And let's talk about what's on this screen. Okay, you have a set of buttons up here, and there's 5 of them, and you've got 6, 7 buttons here. Or actually these 4. I'm not talking about those. Okay, you've got this is how you set up your lines and your colors, and you make any changes, your drawing tools. This first one right here refers to the outline, whatever outline you're choosing. And so you would, first thing is your properties box, and that's usually the first thing I do, is I hit properties, and I tell it what color I want. These are your drawing properties, and I'll explain some of these. These are your drawing tools. So if I want to add more drawing to them, more than what I have, this one means it's an open drawing. So you just draw as you like. This one means you can draw as you like, but wherever you start matches up with wherever you end in order to have a full enclosed circle or shape. If you're wanting to fill something, like say you want it outlined in yellow, and you want the middle to be blue, a fill stitch, that shape has to be completely closed. Otherwise, the color spills out into the background. And you'll see what I mean in a minute, what I'm talking about. This is your drawing tool, and it's simply, you draw a tool point from one spot to another. It does a straight line, so you would take your stylus and you would hit here and just pull it down in whatever direction, and when you let it go, there's your end point. This one right here means you can go tap, 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 and that gives you the shape that you want. Now that's your shapes. This part talks about what stitch do you want to apply to that shape. It defaults to a satin stitch. You can pick a double run, a triple run. These are, what do you call it? Candle wicking stitches. This looks like a chain stitch, a blanket stitch if you're doing an applique, or a blind hem, and I don't know why you'd want that. And these are other stitches, which is that thing here. Now you've got decorative stitches, and these are all the decorative stitches you can pick from. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at the satin stitch, and here is where you change the color. And again, this is your no-sew line. No-sew line comes in handy when you've got a color that's blossoming out to the entire page and you can't find the break in the design. Do a no-sew line and sort of swipe it across the general area, and it won't sew anything there, but it'll help delineate your space. Okay, I just hit okay. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, these are the properties for your region fills. Again, this is telling me my outlines are going to be a black satin stitch. Right now, it's telling me a red, regular, ordinary fill stitch. So here's my properties here. Okay. On the Destiny in the Dream Machine, you have small, medium, and large. You can take this on the newer machines. You can say how big of it you want it to do, how big of a line, how big of a square, that you want to draw at one time. You want it to be little. I like little lines when I'm drawing, or this is painting. This is not drawing. I want it to be bigger, and also, do you want it rounded or do you want it square? Then you can pick what stitch you want. This is your regular standard fill stitch. This is your standard stippling. This one right here is the new one, which has all of those quilting fills, these little background stitches. It has a lot more. I think there's only, let me see what looks familiar. I think there's only like 23 or 24 of them on the Destiny and the Dream, and the Solaris 2, you've got 42. I think you had 39 with the Solaris 1, and you got 42 now with the Solaris 2, or the Luminaire 2. I'm not going to pick one now. And again, no sew. So I'm just going to leave it as the default. Okay, down here is your eraser. So if you want to get rid of something, and this is your select. Now over here, now I can zoom. I think I can go all the way up to either 400 or 600 on the Destiny and the Dream. I can go up to 1600 in the Solaris 2, which is really nice. So I'm going to go to maybe 400 and see how much bigger it is. Now, what is different here when you're zoomed in on the Destiny and the Dream Machine, there is a box that appears over here that allows you to go to the part of the design you want to work on. Solaris and Luminaire, I have to hit this pan thing, which is annoying, okay, because I know there's a problem up there. I don't want that line. Okay, so I'm going to bring that over here, and I'll go back to, say, 200. 100. Okay, and I can erase. Well, here, let me go bigger. Say 400. See, that's annoying to me. Okay, I can hit this eraser key. And now we just need to clean this up a bit, because I got something here I don't want. I can pick the size of the eraser, and then I just either hit OK and I can start erasing. That's one way to erase. The other way to erase is I'm going to go back to 100. I want that whole line gone. So I can hit my selection key, which on the Destiny and the Dream Machine, it's over here. I want this one right here, which is my select. And on the Destiny and the Dream Machine, it's over here. So I only have a choice of a square on the Destiny and the Dream Machine, but I'm going to pick the square, and I'm going to take my stylus, and I'm going to encompass it. Then I'm going to hit cut, which is the scissor. Gets rid of all of it at one time. So that's when you've got a big region of stuff you want to get rid of, you could, like this one is a good one. So if I want to say there was something over here, see? It's not finding anything. It's then when it goes at you, it's saying, hey, stupid, there's nothing there. So, okay. So, and I'm going to, it's got a lot of detail. There's a lot of breaks in here that are really, really can be annoying. Okay. The other thing, let's explain. Okay. We talked about the eraser. This one is what it's called the stamp key in the book, but I call it my shapes key because that makes sense to me. So you have basic shapes here. This is your squares. So you got different shapes here. This one right here has more shapes. You can pick little things that you can do. This is more squirrely lines and stuff. These, this thing, and it's the same thing. You'll see it. It'll be a filled-in flower on the Destiny and the Dream Machine. What this is in your embroidery, if you have selected a key on regular embroidery like that, and it'll be on the embroidery, and we covered this in another class, what it does is it creates an outline of that embroidery. What this is good for is for putting quilting designs around the embroidery, so you can add them, especially those fancy fills, if you have the Destiny and the Dream Machine, or the Solaris or Luminaire 1. With the Solaris and Luminaire 2, or the upgrades, you don't have to jump through hoops in order to put those fancy fills, those fancy outline designs around your embroidery. Okay, and this one here is how you select your hoops. So you could pick, I didn't change it to inches. I need to change it because this makes me crazy. But say if this is the outline of whatever shape of hoop you're using. Okay, so, and you pick whatever hoop you're using. Say I know that's 4x4, that's 5x7, 6x10. I think that's 7x11. 7x11. No, there's that one. I don't know. And then there's the great big one. So I don't know metric too well. I should, but I don't. Okay. So then here, this is your size and your rotate. So that's of the individual component that you're working on. You can mirror image it. And this is a copy. And you have so it'll copy you can select something, hit copy, it duplicates it. And then once you duplicate it once, you can paste. You don't have to keep hitting copy and paste all the time. It'll remember what you had in copy. Okay, so I think for here we need to erase some things because things don't look right. I'm going to go to 800 and yeah, see? I'm going to pan. Bring that in here. Okay. What is this? I don't want that. I don't know what it is, and I don't want it. So I'm going to erase that. This is what came with your machine. Okay, I don't like this. Not at all. What I had here, and I can't find it, which meant somebody moved it or took it home. I can't find it, is a powered stylus. And it's very thin, really, really thin and small. And that way you can get fine lines. This fat tip is way too big, but I have no choice but to use it today. Or you could use your finger. Actually, it's easier to use the finger, so I want to erase it. There, that erased it. It's not there anymore. But see how big that was at 800%? But that will come in handy if you want to find something really tiny when you find something wrong with the... yeah, see? If I wanted to erase that little teeny line, I would go to my erase. I would change this down to as small as it would go. Okay. And I'm going to try this. So what I do when I'm erasing is I will go outside it and it was still on. Come back here. Okay, and erase. Just move it up until I get it. And I went too far. I put a break in the line. I want to undo that. With a stylus, it's a lot easier. I just put another break in it. Okay, that's tedious. With a powered stylus, which means you get a stylus that has an on button, that either has batteries or a USB charger, so that you can get that tiny little point. Otherwise, you can't. You can't get too close. So let's just say, let's find wherever we have. Okay, I don't want this break in the line. See that? I want a solid line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it big. And I'm going to draw. And I'll leave that. Actually, it's easier if I change it to a straight line, to be honest with you. And then I'm going to draw. See, this is highlighted. If you hear it going thunk, thunk, and nothing's happening, nothing's selected, so it's not going to do anything. So I want to draw this line. Come on. There. Now I've extended out the line and we're good to go. I can come back down. Let's go to 400. Okay, and see, there's all kinds of things that I need to get rid of. See, I need to erase that. I need to fix this. I need to check if they're breaks. Okay, now how I know I have a break, okay? Say I want to put in color in here, and I want green for the stem, and I want this color one, this pink, that pink, and maybe that a darker pink. Okay, so let's try that. So I'm going to go with my color, I'll pick my region fill, and I'll pick maybe a medium pink, okay, or a light pink, okay, and a regular fill's fine. And then I hit flood. You can flood your line or you can flood your region. I'm going to flood a region. Look what happens. There's breaks all over the place there. So I hit undo, my favorite key on the whole machine. Undo that thing. I need to fix something, so I'm going to go to my line draw, and I'm going to make this bigger. Okay, I got lots of line. I'm going to go. This one's letting me go 1600. Oh my God, that's a lot easier to use. Okay, so I want to draw this line, finish this. There, that completed that line. And I want to complete this line because I don't want the stem. I did a little sloppy there, but that's okay. And then I can increase that line to here. I can pan over. Let's see, did we get any more? I think we're good. Let's go back down. Let's flood this again. So I'm going to flood pink. Yeah, like that. Pink, okay? Green. Green, yay. Okay, a dark pink. Dark pink. See, now it's good to go. I can go to the next part. So now I could go through here and fix all this stuff, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of this because I did spend this takes a while. This is the most tedious part of it because I have got a lot of things to fix. So as you can see, I go back in the middle. I want to make this line straight. I've got a break here. I have a break here. I need to put a color break because it's going to make the whole stem green. I want to get rid of that. I don't need it. This line here, there's a dot I got to get rid of. I need to make that straight. That'll leave there. I got to make this, fix that. These down here I want to fix. So there's a lot I wanted to fix on here, and this is the most tedious part of this. This is what's different than regular digitized embroidery like that's coming on palette, PE Design, Designer's Gallery Creator, or the Brilliant Art and Stitch. Digitizing on a computer is a lot easier than digitizing on this. The principles are the same. So if you have an open shape in palette and you try to fill it, it's still going to bleed out. You still have to fix the things. Anyway, okay, but I'm going to come out of this because I already did this. So now I want to bring a design in. So I'm going to hit my pocket. It's in the internal memory of my machine, and there's the design. Okay, so we're going to bring it in. All fixed. Okay, everything is fixed. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to flood the colors, and I'll do a few of these. So again, I'm going to go to the pink. Okay, everything I want pink. I'm going to make it a little bigger. That's hard to see. Okay, pink. Oops, wrong thing. When it does that, yeah, no. In fact, let's talk about these drawing tools. Okay, that's the drawing tool. See, there's the open. Okay, here's the closed. See, makes a D shape. Undo. This one is your line. So you would just draw and drag. There's your line. Or if you see how that line moves around, it's only 2 points. Okay, or point to point. Ta-da! Okay, I don't want that anymore, so I'll get rid of it. Oh. Okay, that's gone. Alrighty, so the same thing with when I'm into the flood. Here's my drawing tools, so I'll leave that in pink. So my drawing tools here, you have a paintbrush, and see there, ta-da. Or if I had changed that shape, that was the other option we had. See, now the ends of it are not rounded, they're square. Big whoop, right? Or if I pick another stitch, this is going to look a little odd, so. See, that looks weird, okay. But you can spend hours playing with this thing anyway. I want to put a regular fill in, and I want it to be pink, so I'm going to flood that. Yeah, that's fine like that, and that. I'll just make them all pink for now. A little bigger. And I can pan and move it over. Okay. I think that's part of one. Here's another one. Whoops, forgot to put. Oh, here's more tulip bits. I'll make them all pink just for time. Here's another one. See, I have nothing selected, so it doesn't do anything. Okay. Any more? I think that's all the flowers. Oh, one more. Okay. You have to remember, keep hitting the flood. Okay, I'm going to go to green. Green. I'll just do light green for the leaves. I can't. It didn't hit. That means it didn't hit anything. Here's a green. I'm just doing the leaves now. Green. Blood green. That's a green. And move it down. Here's another leaf. See, that's why the pan makes me crazy, because I could come over here and just simply move it without interrupting. Any more? Yep. I think that's green. Ah! When having the little stylus means you don't have to keep doing this. I think that's it for leaves. Now we have stems. So I'll pick a darker green for the stems. That's one. I don't know, gotta look at it now, I can't tell. Here's a stem. Nope, undo, wrong place. See, it's hard. See, with this big fat old stylus, it's hard to get in there. There we go. I don't know if that's a stem. I don't know what that is. I'll just leave it. There's more stems down here. I think that's enough. Now we got a bow. I'm going to put on a blue bow. Let's go with regular blue. And then the under part I'll do darker. And dark. That's kind of a dark blue. Okay. Well, we done. There. Yep, we're done. Okay. Now I have, it's showing the green as a satin stitch. It's going, how it stitches out. With this, it's going to first do all the fill stitches, and then it's going to stitch all the outlines. So all the lines will stitch second. It's a little hard to control the stitches on here, as far as what stitches first, what stitches second. I find that easier with software. So now it's thinking, I hit next. The store, Maddie asked, does the store have powered styluses? No, just get those. You can even get those at Walmart. That was the only, okay, now, these are the properties pages of what it's going to sew out. And it's going to give you an idea what it looks like. Yeah, I'm not liking that. Okay. Now, what it's showing up here, it's talking about what it is talking about stitching. Right now in this little box is right here. It's talking about that fill stitch inside that leaf. So I can scroll and hit the next thing. So now it's talking about that section of the leaf. There is no rhyme nor reason as to how it picks what to stitch first and what's second. It sort of jumps around. And see, and it's all over the place. Now it's doing all the pinks. Why it did part of the green and then changes over, I have no idea. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to link. Okay. Oh, there's a mystery mark in here. See that? I missed that. And I'm going to return, go back, and somehow we got a weird color. So let me go to a pink again. And somehow this leaf is turned there. Okay. Usually I save it here just in case. Okay, now we're back to the green. If I want to link all of the green fill stitches, I hit the link button. And now everything is linked together, or not link it. When it's on a fill stitch, you'll get this screen. When it says auto, that says that this is your direction of the stitching. This is your inclination. So it automatically stitches everything in a 45-degree angle, but you can come over here and go to manual and change it to whatever angle you want that stitching to go to. You don't want to link them together in that case because what you change for one, you're changing for all. You're changing all the pink fill stitches at this time if you link it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at automatic and not change it. Leave it. Okay, and I've linked it together. This is your density. If you stitched it out or you stitched things before and the fill stitches you find are too open, that you're ending up with seeing the fabric going through, well, you might want to increase the density. Sometimes I will do that. It just depends, and it depends on the thickness of your thread and that kind of thing. I'm just going to leave it for now. This one right here is called pull compensation. What they mean by pull compensation is, say you have this, say the bow, okay? Your stitches are going 45-degree angle, and what happens is that there is more pull. The fabric is going, as it's going across like this to stitch, it's pulling that fabric in. However, physically, it's pulling the fabric in. According to the computer, there's no such thing as pull compensation. If you've ever stitched a design with an outline like this and you end up seeing a gap of fabric along one edge or two edges on opposite sides, that means that it's pulled in too much. So it'll do this fill stitch and then it comes to where it thinks it's the end and it stitches and now there's a gap. Pull compensation means it's over stitching. So instead of stitching, say this is the line. Instead of finishing this stitching right here, it's going to over stitch it by 3 millimeters. That's mostly important if you got big fills. In other words, anything bigger than your thumbnail needs to have pull compensation. Anything smaller, you can probably get away with not having it. Or if you're on a knit fabric or any other fabric that's inherently unstable, that you need, it's stretchy and everything, you're going to need to use pull compensation. It defaults to 0.3 because even a woven fabric, there's bias grain on a woven fabric, and you still have pulling and you still have contracting. So I just leave it at the default 0.3 or 0.4 millimeters. If it's a knit, I will probably put that to maybe 0.5 or even 1 millimeter, if you wanted to overstitch, if you're getting a lot of pull. Okay, the last one here is underlayment. Okay, Underlayment, that's undersewing, which means if you have an area, if you've ever seen it, it'll do a loose fill up and down, and then it comes back and does the tight fill stitch in between. That what it did first was called underlayment. It builds a scaffolding on which the stitches can lie. And again, anything bigger than your thumbnail needs to have undersewing or understitching, different computer things. And you can turn it on or turn it off. I'm just going to leave it off for now. If I were doing this in reality, this is such a big design and it's pretty big. I would put undersewing on, so I would turn it on. There we go. And then okay. Okay, so that's changed. Now everything with a fill, it is now changing it all at one time. Okay, it has changed it all. Then I'm going to scroll forward until I find all of these are the same. What's that? Oh, that's the green. I thought it was gray. I didn't know what that was. What I'm looking for is those satin stitches. Because, there we go. I don't like those. Okay? Those are too thick. I don't like that thickness, so I'm going to hit link. I'm going to hit now, when it's a satin stitch, it's asking you how wide do you want that satin stitch to be and how dense do you want it to be. I'm going to change it because I don't like it anyway. So I am going to now change this to a triple run. And okay. It's recalculating. And now it gives you, well, that's been finished. Instead of it being, really thick outline, that looks nicer. Now granted, if it's thinner, it's just a triple run stitch. What's going to happen there is that you're leaving yourself a little more open to having gapping if you haven't put pull compensation on. And you really are not going to know how well that is until you stitch it out. Okay, so now I can just keep scrolling until I get back to the beginning, and you can see the little, we went back there. We're at the same spot we were before. Then I'm going to hit set, and it says you can save it now. Maybe I should save it. Nah. And then you hit OK. Okay, now you're in embroidery. You are in embroidery. Now you're ready to stitch it out. And that's what it's going to look like when it stitches out. So now you're back to your regular embroidery. Now say I wanted to add something else. I now can add lettering or another design. Or if I want to go back and digitize something else, I can go to my Design Center IQ Design and add that, and it'll come right back. So I don't want to do that. That is now ready to stitch out. And I'll hit embroidery. I'm going to save this one because I might come back later and stitch it. So memory, internal memory. I might come back and stitch that out next week to see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to, since I saved it into memory, say this was a big quilt block. And I want to put a quilting design to it. Okay. In the older days, I would have to go to return, add, oh wait, go back, return. I wanted to put quilting underneath of this, and I wanted one of those pretty fancy fills. I'm going to show you how I do it on the Destiny, the Dream, and the Solaris 1 and the Luminaire 2. This is all works the same way. So I would go into Edit, pick this thing that looks like a flower. On the Destiny Dream Machine, it's a colored in flower. So I'm picking that. So it's going to take the outline of that design. And on the Destiny Dream Machine and the Solaris 1 and 2, you can only do the outside. See how it's put an outline around the outside of that pattern? You can now, with the Solaris, if it's a big open design, you can also have it do outside and inside. I'm just going to leave it like that. And how far away from the design you want that outline to be, I'm just going to leave it at 0. And then I hit OK and into memory. Okay, put it in there. So now what I would have to do is I would go to Add, My Design Center. I would have to come over here to the stamps, have a blank slate, my stamps. There's that pattern. Okay. Pick my hoop size. So here's, I'm going to pick my hoop size, and I'm just going to take the, I forgot to change that. Let's go this one. Okay. Will it fit? Yeah, it fits. I didn't center anything, but that's okay. And then I would take my fills property. I would pick these fancy quilting designs and pick one. What do I like? Let's pick that one. Okay. And I'm going to make it, say, light green. Okay. And then I'm going to flood outside. Okay, now it's added that quilting pattern. So I would hit next, set. I'll just leave it. You can fix a lot of things here and play with that. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. Now you've added that fill to this quilting design. So what you would do is that you would hoop your fabric. You would stitch this design first. It would stitch it like this, and then it would come in, and after you were done with your front, you'd come to your machine, and we'll pretend that's a hoop. You would put your backing and your batting underneath here, cover it from the back, do this last quilting design, and now it has quilted your block as you want to go. Okay, so here's what you can do differently now. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, we're right back where we were, okay, as if we hadn't done it in IQ Designer. So now what I could do is I can come into Edit in Embroidery, pick your stipple stitches, which is how you used to do stippling. No, that's not it. Yeah. See this right here? On the Solaris and the Luminaire, you have a choice of plain ordinary stippling. You have echo quilting. It's thinking still. It's got a lot. See, that's cool. I like that. Or now there's your fancy fills that you have. This is what makes the Solaris 2 upgrade worth it. And let's pick a different one. Ooh, that's neat. It's one of the new ones. See, now you've got a fancy fill behind there. And it's thinking it's ready to stitch. And look at that. Isn't that neat? So this is worth the Solaris 2 upgrade just to do that. Okay. So anyway, does anyone have any questions? Because I think we're pretty much done. I recommend that you watch the replay, slow it down, find a drawing, try it, and see how it works for you. If you have any questions, give me just send me an email at waltzquilt, that's WALTZ, @yahoo.com. Can you do quilting on a design that's already in the machine? Yes, you can. You do it the same way. So let's get rid of everything. I'm going to take an embroidery design. Anything. That will work. Yeah, that's good. Same thing. You're going to hit Edit, Stippling. Okay, slow down. There we go. I can change this out. Neat, huh? Now, the one thing you can't do in here that you can do in IQ Designer is you can't skew it. You can resize it. I'm going to make that big, up to 200% bigger, because that was kind of busy and for the background. See, now I made it bigger. The only option you have additionally when you're an IQ Designer is, like, here's the center point of the design. I can move that. I can skew it off, and I can also like make them funky looking. So, like, by that I'm meaning, let's go to, you would, my design center, out of here. Okay, my stamps. Well, I'll pick the hoop size. That's fine. And then I want, okay, it's a little small, but that's all right. And here's my fills, region property. Let's pick that same one. I think it was this one, or this one. That's the one I picked. Okay, when I select that, I did that already. I'll make it blue and flood it. Okay, when I go to, now I can do other things. In the embroidery section, I can size it, and I think that's it. Okay, I have more options here now. I have the option here of changing the direction of it, so I could have it tilt the whole design. I can turn on the outline, so if I wanted it to do an outline around here, like if you've ever used the Anita Good Design things, they're builder blocks, they have an outline around the edge. You'd want the outline on because you're going to use that line to stitch your blocks together. I can make it, this is what I call making it askew. I can offset this. And see, it's that lined up, and then see, now it moved it. I should have changed the color of it. Let me change the color. Make it dark so we can see it. There, we can see that better. Okay, see, it just sort of moved it off. But this is the one that's fun, is that you can take a random shift and really mess it up. It looks good like that. So you can do funny, weird stuff. I'm not sure, what does that do? Oh, this is the thickness of your line. I can make it a really thin line or a thick line. That's new. That is brand new. Those are the things you can't do while it's in embroidery mode. While it's in IQ designer mode, yes, you can. Close. As versus over here where, let's see, I did save it, didn't I? Okay, and now when I pick, see this, there's that one. Okay, see, I can't do anything but change the distance and the size of the design. That's all I can change. I can't change the skewing it off to one side or making it random or changing the direction of the stitching. All that has to be done in IQ, but for the basic things, this is really good. It's really easy to use. And hopefully everyone had a good time. Give me some feedback. You can either put a comment below or shoot me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com. So have a great weekend, and I'm going to be sewing. Bye-bye.